Okay, I'm going to show you how I make my chocolate sourdough bread. It's one of my daughter's favorites. She's the only sourdough she'll eat. It reminds me of like a chocolate muffin. First, we're going to need to bloom our cocoa. We're going to use 50 grams of cocoa. And then we are going to use 100 grams of a hot liquid like either coffee or water. I always use water. I don't really use coffee. Pour that in there. And we're just going to mix it up. And it will not be sweet. So if your child tries to taste it, it will be very bitter and they're going to be like, this is gross. So we're just going to blend this all together. And just mix it really, really, really well. And this is how it should look, just like a chocolate sauce. Nothing too greasy. So what blooming is going to do is going to take that bitterness out of the chocolate. If you don't do that, it will be bitter and it's going to be freaking gross. Okay, and we will let that sit for about 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be exactly 5. I just do 5. At least 3 minutes. You want to let it sit. I do 5. Now that it's been 5 minutes, we are going to add our starter, 150 grams of starter. You're going to add your chocolate that you just bloomed right in there. And then you want to add your water. You need 350 grams of water. And then you want to add your sugar and your vanilla. You're going to need 40 grams of brown sugar. And you're going to need 13 grams of vanilla paste or just the liquid vanilla. 13 grams. Give that a good mix. We're not going to use that. I have one of these little whisker things. I don't know what it's called, but it works good at mixing everything together. Because we want to make sure starter's mixed in there really well. If you mix too much, you're going to splash it everywhere. So just be cautious of that. I'm a very messy cook when it comes to making anything, really. Alright. And then I'm going to add my 10 grams of salt. Alright. And then now we will add 500 grams of flour. And we will give that all a good mix for about 10 minutes. I'll say 5 to 10 minutes. I do use my KitchenAid to mix my stuff because I'm lazy. I don't want to do it by hand. If you have to do it by hand, just mix it with your hand for 5 to 10 minutes. All right, once we've mixed it all up and good, it's going to look like that. And then we're just going to, I'm going to move it to my other bowl. It's going to be pretty sticky. That's just what it is. And we're going to wet our hand just so we can transfer it. And then we will get our scraper and scrape out the bowl to get every little thing because there is a little bit of flour still in here. So we want to make sure to get everything. If you do notice if it's too sticky, you can add just a tad of flour to help it, or you can wait once you do the shaping and all of that if it's still too really sticky. And then since there's still flour and stuff in here, we're just gonna use our hand to mix it really well. Mix it in that way. It's all good. Okay, that looks like it's pretty well mixed in. All right. Try to get as much off as I can. Like I said, it's pretty sticky. And then we are going to put a shower cap over the bowl and let it sit for an hour. Okay, it's been an hour, so now we're going to do our first stretch and fold. We are going to include our chocolate chips. I just use the milk chocolate chips. Just going to sprinkle a little bit. Just like that. Wet my hands. And we'll do our first stretch and fold. Stretch and fold. Stretch and fold. Stretch and fold. One more. Stretch and fold. All right. We will put our shower cap on and come back in another hour to do another stretch and fold and add some more chocolate chips. All right. Time for another round of stretch and folds. We're going to add some more chocolate chips. And you can add as much chocolate chips as you want through the process. To me, it's only going to make it better, but depends on what you like. My daughter likes the chocolate chips. So we put a ton in there. All right. As you can see, it's getting a little bit harder to fold, which is good, and it has doubled. Not quite doubled, but it's getting there. And then we'll do another round in another hour. Alright, my last video did not have sound and I just realized that, so I'm just going to talk to you just for a second while I flour my banneton, and pretty much what's going on in the other video. I'm just flouring my surface, letting it fall out of my bowl naturally, and then we're going to do a trifold, pull everything apart, do a trifold, and then a roll, and then we're going to do our candy cane shape to shape it up. If it's still really, really sticky, you can just add a little bit of flour on top. You do want to flour your surface. That way it doesn't stick. So now we're back to this one. I like to use my scraper when I do this just because it's just easier for me to get it to flip. So you're just gonna scrape it up, flip it over, and then same thing, we're gonna pull it apart and we're going to stretch it. Your inclusions might fall out. It's okay. Just push them back in there a little bit. Once again, trifold. And then instead of rolling it, we're just going to fold it in half and then bring the other half in. Let's flour that surface just a little bit before we fold it. Or flip it over. Flip over. I have a thing with things sticking to my hand, so I have to put a little bit of flour. And same thing, candy cane motions to get it into that ball that we love so much. Just like that, nice and tight. And then we're going to use our scraper again just to grab it and flip it over into our banneton. The top goes down because that's the most prettiest part. And then again, just flour the top a little bit just so our shower cap doesn't get stuck to the top. And if you see it's a little bit little loose, you can always just pinch it in like you do your regular sourdough. Just like that. And then we'll go ahead and put our shower cap on top. Put it in the fridge till tomorrow morning. And then we're good to go. That is it. We are going to cook our chocolate sourdough this morning. It is 9:30, so overslept a little bit, but we're gonna preheat our oven to 450. With our Dutch oven inside. So one thing I didn't mention in my last sourdough video is putting a pan underneath your Dutch oven. It keeps your bottoms from burning, especially if you cook it at a high temperature. The oven is preheated and ready to go. You're gonna take your sourdough loaf out, put it on your parchment paper, score it to your liking. We will put it in our preheated Dutch oven with the lid on for 20 minutes. Make sure to put that sheet under your Dutch oven. Drop your heat down and take your lid off. And then you're gonna cook it for 30 minutes. So just take it out, put it on your wire rack, let it cool for about an hour, and then you can cut into it. It's ready to go.